What if everything you thought you understood about time and from was completely wrong, and the real danger isn't changing the past, but being trapped inside it? Because that's exactly what just happened to Julie. And if you weren't paying close attention, you missed one of the most important rule changes this show has ever introduced. This episode doesn't just expand her ability, it redefines the entire logic of the town. Before we break it all the way down, here's the quick recap so you're not lost. In Season 4, Episode 2, Julie stops being passive. Instead of waiting for her visions to hit, she goes back to the ruins with Randall and intentionally triggers what the show now clearly defines as storywalking. She steps through the stone structures, falls into that trance-like state, and enters a moment from the past specifically tied to her family and the trauma surrounding Jim's death. But what she finds isn't a memory. It's something far worse. It's real. And the moment she tries to interfere, everything falls apart. Now, here's where the show quietly flips everything on its head. Julie cannot change what has already happened. Not it's difficult, not she hasn't mastered it yet. She cannot change it. That moment when she tries to save Jim and fails is not just emotional storytelling, it's the show establishing a hard rule. The past and from isn't flexible. It's not something you can rewrite with enough effort or emotion. Once an event becomes part of the town's story, it's locked in permanently. And that one rule completely destroys the idea that Julie's power is some kind of solution. Because if she can't fix anything, then what is this ability actually for? At first glance, it feels useless, almost cruel. She can revisit the worst moment of her life, watch it unfold again, even try to intervene, but the outcome doesn't change. It's like the town is forcing her to relive her trauma over and over just to remind her that she's powerless. But that's only the surface, because while she can't change the story, she can enter it. And that's where things get dangerous. This isn't a vision. This isn't a dream. Julie isn't just watching events play out from a distance. She is physically present inside that moment. She can move, interact, get close enough to see the monsters before they strike. And the monsters see her too. That detail is easy to miss, but it changes everything. Because it means storywalking isn't safe observation. It's full immersion. When Julie steps into the past, she's stepping into the same world the monsters exist in. And to them, she's not a ghost. She's not invisible. She's prey. That moment where one of them attacks her proves it. And the scar she brings back into the present confirms it. If she gets hurt there, she gets hurt here. So now we're dealing with a completely different kind of ability. Not time travel, not memory access. This is more like entering a living, breathing narrative, one where every event is already written but still actively happening. And if that's true, then the implications are terrifying, because it means the past isn't dead, it's still alive. Every moment that's ever happened in that town is still playing out somewhere within its story, and Julie has just gained the ability to walk directly into it. But the cost of that access is that she becomes part of it, vulnerable to it. And that leads to the most disturbing realization of all. If she dies in the past, there's a very real chance she dies for real. No reset, no waking up safely, no second chance. That's why Randall standing guard isn't just a nice detail, it's essential. He's not there for emotional support. He's there in case something goes wrong. Because once Julie goes under, she's not in control anymore. And if whatever she encounters over there decides not to let her go, there may be nothing anyone can do about it. Now think about how insane that actually is. Julie has access to every traumatic event tied to her family, every mistake, every death, every moment she wishes she could undo. And the show is basically saying, go ahead, walk back into it. Just understand you can't change anything, and you might not survive it. That's not a power, that's a psychological trap. And yet, there's still a purpose behind it. Because even though Julie can't rewrite events, she can still learn from them. And this is where the ability starts to make sense. The town isn't giving her the power to save people, it's giving her the ability to understand the system, to see things no one else can see, to witness details that were missed the first time, the exact movements of the monsters, the timing of events, the patterns hidden inside chaos. That's information no one else has access to, and in a place like this, information is everything. So while it feels like she's being tortured, she's actually being positioned as something much more important, a witness, someone who can piece together the truth behind the town. But even that comes with a cost, because every time she walks, she's not just gathering knowledge, she's getting pulled deeper into the logic of the place, a logic that doesn't follow normal rules, a logic built on stories, cycles, and consequences, and the more she engages with it, the more the town pushes back. You can see it in how unstable the process still is. She can't fully control where she goes. She needs guidance from the chronological story, from Ethan's understanding, from emotional anchors tied to her family. That lack of control is intentional. It keeps her from using the ability too effectively. Because if she could freely move through time, she'd break the system. So instead, the system limits her and punishes her for trying. And this is where things start to get even deeper. Because once you accept that Julie can physically exist in past events, you have to ask a bigger question. What if she's not just observing those moments, but influencing them? Not in a way that changes the outcome, but in a way that was always part of it. Think about it. If the timeline is fixed, then everything that happens inside it was always meant to happen. That includes Julie being there, which means her presence in those past moments isn't an anomaly. It's part of the story itself. So what if, without realizing it, Julie has already been involved in events she thinks she's just witnessing? What if she's always been there? That opens the door to something incredibly complex, looped causality, a situation where cause and effect feed into each other endlessly, where Julie's attempts to understand the past are actually part of what created it in the first place. And suddenly, her power becomes a lot more dangerous, because now it's not just about survival, it's about responsibility. If her presence is part of the story, then every move she makes matters, even if it doesn't change the outcome. She could be the reason certain events happen the way they do. She could be the missing piece behind things that never made sense. And the worst part, she wouldn't even know it. That's the kind of trap From is building, a system where knowledge feels like progress, but actually pulls you deeper into the cycle. And that connects directly to the larger mythology the show is hinting at. The chronological story, the Lake of Tears, Ethan's visions, Tabitha's experiences, none of these are random. They're all pointing toward the same idea, that this town operates on narrative rules, that stories aren't just symbolic, they're functional, they're pathways, and Julie has just learned how to walk them. But walking those paths doesn't make her free, it makes her a target. Because now she exists in a space where the monsters aren't limited by time. They can encounter her in the past, recognize her, and potentially carry that awareness forward. That's why it was so important that one of them knew her. That wasn't just a creepy moment, it was a warning. She's visible, she's trackable, and the more she uses this ability, the more exposed she becomes. So now the stakes are completely different. Julie isn't just trying to survive the present anymore. She's risking her life across multiple points in the story at once. And the more she pushes, the more dangerous it gets. But despite all of that, this ability might still be the key to everything. Not because it lets her fix the past, but because it lets her finally understand it. Because if there's one thing From has been consistent about, it's this. The town rewards understanding, but only after it punishes you for seeking it. And Julie is now on that path. A path where every answer costs something. A path where every step forward comes with a risk. And a path that might eventually lead to the truth behind the entire system. But here's the question that should be bothering you. If the story is already written and Julie can't change it, then why does the town let her walk through it at all? That's the part that doesn't make sense yet, because nothing in this place happens without a reason. So either her ability is meant to help them escape, or it's part of what keeps them trapped. And if it's the second option, then Julie isn't breaking the rules. She's playing right into them.
and which means the real danger isn't that she'll fail to change the story, it's that she's already becoming part of the reason it never changes in the first place. And once that happens, there's no way out.